because it's a real thing, right? So we would love to hear yours and how you actually overcame this. Thank you.
Yeah, I think I applied about 4 times, but the very first time I applied, I kind of mentioned it earlier. That was that time. It was only the Supreme Court justices that deliberate on who becomes. So this particular year, I was told, well, you always have somebody in there that would give you information. A justice of the Supreme Court told me that, well, you are young, you will still become. We decided to give it to the first woman that will come out from the southeast. That was the first time any woman was coming to that level from the southeast. So, and she had been attorney general. That we decided to give it to you. You will become another time, and like that, like that. I mean, I was so, I was so discouraged. Wait for yourself. That was in year 2003. It was 2003. So that was immediately after Mrs. Adekoya, I mean, I was so put out, and I told myself I wasn't applying again, because what they kept telling me is next year, next year. So I thought, okay, 2003 will be it, and what have you. But the one thing that impacted my life that day in that conversation was the fact that the justice told me that I learned that they ask you to become a judge. You refused. I feel sorry for you. You one day you become that sano, and you will bring that your sansan gown and come to this court and appear before idiots. That was what a Supreme Court justice told me in year 2003. And hmm, it's late now, but anytime I appear before the Supreme Court and you see the way cases are handled there, you feel sorry for Nigeria. That how come our best are not the one we are put in charge? It's very pathetic. But my story to becoming one, I recall that in one year after that 2003, I didn't bother to apply again. I said so earlier. I didn't bother to apply again until Kola Wode insisted that you must apply. My friends were now the one that would say, no, you have to do this, go this way, do that, take this case, do that case, like that. But when a friend of mine, a judge, we're just very good friends, we discuss law, we argue, very brilliant jurist. When he was elevated to the Supreme Court, a friend of mine called me and said, Sisi, now God has answered your prayer. Your friend is now going to the Supreme Court. You have a champion there, you have this, you have that. And usually, I go to Abuja often because my children school in Abuja. So anytime I go to Abuja, I will stop by, we'll chat, just talk law. It's just about law. And this day, he now looked at me and said, Titi, you want me to support your application? I said, why won't you support my application? You know I'm capable. You know I should get it. So why should you be asking me that kind of question? You have to, maybe the next time you come, you have to plan on staying. I said, stay over for where? For what in Abuja? To do what? I can't stay. What am I doing? I will just go home and he said, no, so we can go to dinner. I said, Do you know? Do you know? Even talking about it now, I have good flesh. I was so let down. I was I was so disillusioned that I even thought to myself that forget it. How can this man, somebody that had been my friend for forever, that how? How can he say, you think there's anything that is for you? I just told myself, hands up, no more. You know? I mean, just from what Mrs. Adekoya said, would you have to go knocking on the when she was saying that I was just smiling to myself. That means that I carried my leg. I heard my sister here said invitation to sleep. I carried my leg. So I told myself, Bam, bam, I'm not going nowhere. I'm not talking to nobody. I'm leaving it in the hands of God. Unfortunately for me, one day I just saw through my Bible and I saw that the Bible says that promotion doesn't come from anywhere, not from the north, not from the south, east, or west. So I said, Father, in your hands, me, I'm done. I will never talk to not one person about this matter. But truth be told, there will be people that God will raise to help you. You see, because as a lady, it's a bit difficult. You can't go to the clubs in the evening to talk to nobody. You have to go home to take care of the family. And when they see you around there, they say, this one is a loose one. We have it against us. We cannot delude ourselves that we have it right. So there will be helpers. God, I believe God will raise helpers. It was my male friend that got up and was saying, I told them, they said, "Hi, have you seen?" I said, I'm not seeing nobody. I'm sitting on my desk and looking up to God. They said, God, okay. Okay, I will, okay, don't worry. When I get to Abuja, I will see this, I will talk to that, I will. But I must say this, I must publicly acknowledge it. I was sleeping in my house at about 10:30. I sleep early. My phone rang. The phone wasn't the days of cell phone. The land phone rang by my bedside. And 10:30, I was just like, who is this? How can anybody be calling me at this ungodly hour? Anyway, I think, hello, who is this? I'm sleeping. Say, Titi, this is today. I'm with the Attorney General now. And we were discussing. And I told him that there is a lady that I know that the law that him and myself, no, you are better. Than said, okay, who is that person? Like that, like that. I said, don't worry, Sha. I just thought I should let you know. Drop the phone. And I thought I was dreaming. When I woke up in the morning, it was how was I dreaming? I don't even know how to. I can't even. There's no way you can recall the number anyway. So, but I know who spoke with me. So I went looking for him. He said, Tony, I said, did you call me or was it? He said, "What? I called you." I said, okay. Anyway, it was a mindset that they started the interview. No, it was a set before me. I didn't make it the set before me. That was when the interview started. But when it was my turn to be interviewed, it was so ironic that I now had to appear before the same attorney general. It was in my panel. So we had a really lovely time. We were talking about marriage. What do I do? That's all I do. So it becomes so very easy for me. We went on and on. He would say this, I was like disagree with him and tell him why it's wrong, that this should be the right thing to do, and this and that and that and that and that. So he got back to my friend and said, you said so. That woman is tough. She won't give up. That. So that was the year I now made it. And truth be told, he told me two women will make it this year. He told me after the interview session, we had interactions with them afterwards. And he walked up to me and said, I really admired your stance, that. Although he would not agree with me, and I would not agree with him, but he could see the point I was trying to make. That. Oh, I'll tell you, two women will make it this year. So you'll be one of them. Don't worry about it. God praised and helper for me without me getting off. Because I looked up to God and I put absolute trust in God. Because if you are looking for what is not missing, you get yourself into a terrible mess. And to be able to retract, and you will not be able to raise your head high. I mean, well, as tall as I am, I see where it is, and my head is always on top there. Because I know that I did not soil myself to get to where I got to. I know people that from the day we had the interview, they don't leave Abuja till the name was announced. I told you that, look, From the day I got into the law school, I made up my mind I was going to become a senior advocate, and I'm going to do everything to ensure that I get it. And she did get it. So it depends. One should just be you, do your work. You cannot take away hard work. It is a lot of hard work. As ladies, we have to work twice as hard as the men. You must work twice as hard as the men. As they said, you will be underestimated. But if you know your onions, you stand up there and do what you know how to do. You will dazzle everybody. I mean, that's what I enjoy doing. When I got into the courtroom, I always like you to underestimate me. Just look at it. This woman, what can she come to say? No. By the time I start, because I have done my own work. I always tell them when they come to me after court, I say, that was brilliant. I say, hey, do you know how many hours work that you are seeing? The way you project it is because you have done the work. You have to do the work. You must work hard. There is no substitute for it. Hard work, diligence, discipline. A lot of us are not disciplined. That's the truth. We are not disciplined. We don't want to regulate our lives. We just want to do things by rote. Doesn't matter. Okay, when I get there, I get there. Then okay, we get there. We spend hours powdering your face. Is that what it is? No, but it's true. That's what we do. We spend hours dressing up. I mean, you have to be well organized. But there's nothing stopping us as women to get to the top. I cannot see it unless we ourselves. They always say it. Women has the pull me down syndrome. We don't like each other. Somebody is making progress. That's when Magdalene will start. Please let it stop. My submission.
Amazing, thank you. And I don't think this story is going to be complete until we hear from you, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We need to hear. We need to hear because these are very interesting. Of course, but you've risen to a very top level. Not just in litigation, in arbitration. You were appointed as the Attorney General of Ogun State. The first female. Can we celebrate that feat, right? Please share with us your interesting moments and how you actually surmounted them. Thank you.
I'm glad that you have observed protocol by letting my senior sales speak for me. I came to the inner bar many years after the event happened. And things had changed. So, um, my story is a mixture of their own. I walked the corridors of the Supreme Court. But happily, there was no sexual harassment. Because I would normally go with a male colleague. So, when you are trying to do something, you must learn, study the lay of the land. When you are trying to become a judge, a senior advocate, learn the requirements. How many decisions will if it's Federal Judicial Service Commission or State Judicial Service Commission, how many cases do they want you to answer? Okay, so for senior advocates in my time, they needed 20 high court cases, like 20 or 10 high court cases, 10. I gave them 20, that's why I have 20. And by our time, it was not just provide judgment when they say, actually, they do appear. You must have done the pleadings, you must have done the arguments, that's the trial, it is trial. And if it's originating someone, you must have argued the originating someone. So that your name is in the body of the person. You now know why it's from the narration. So they wanted 10 in my time. So I had 20. Court of Appeal, they needed 6 judgments. I think I gave them 8 or 10. And then Supreme Court, in my time, yeah, it was still 6. I think I was able to do 7 or 8. So learn the lay of the land. You want to become a judge. From the moment you decide, bench is where I want to do, get the guidelines. I must have the guidelines changed about 3 times in my journey. So I was always buying guidelines. Now they've changed the guidelines, so okay. Buy the new guidelines, put it inside your bed. That is what you read before you sleep. Then I call it. Make it inside your Bible or your Quran. The next thing. That is part of it. So while pursuing the case, you need colleagues and champions. So I said I walked the corridors of my colleague. He was also applying, and he knew just this, he knew just that. So every time I'm in Abuja, I'm not taking away from what Mr. Rifa said. Remember that this is what almost 20 years later. That's what I want to say. Now 40 years. So things have changed. A lot of innovation. So I would go with my colleague. My Lord, we don't get to say, you may not agree with it, but you must understand why it happened. If I have, look at the list of CFR, OFR, OFN. If you had the capacity to give this CFR to anybody, you give it to somebody who. It's the old boys club. You may not agree with it, but that is the reality. And I quickly recognize the reality. And if they say one is like and they don't know who that person is in the Supreme Court, they will give it to somebody. There's another Mrs. XYZ that they know. They will give it to that one. So I quickly recognize that this walking the corridors of the Supreme Court has to happen. Every time I was in the Supreme Court, I would make sure I booked the late flight out of Abuja and would go with my whatever male colleague it was, because we had a cohort of us who were applying for school. So you people think you are going to give me the higher, we are running this race together. So we would listen to judges. I quickly learned there are some judges that I learned. One of the judges I learned is the copy from him. He said number so. But we would banter about the law. My Lord, we don't agree with that your decision of this. Why did you people do that? First Bank and Mayweather. We thought you people were going to do something good to this, but you people went the way of the other one when they said finding the name of the firm and the whole case is gone. I think that Mayweather was supposed to fix that earlier case, but they didn't. But those are the kind of discussions we would have, so that they were able to see that I had a passion for the law. Happily, there was no invitation to dinner. Anyway, I was on a flight out. of Abuja in the evening. So if you wanted me to come to dinner, you'd be happy to buy another ticket. And that wasn't going to happen. Those were my guardrails and my protection, because I also had it in mind. So my journey to Silk, along the way, doing my job the way I did, I was in a big chamber, not where I am now. So we would help with the preparation, and the seniors would go to Abuja to go and argue, because they were looking for Silk. And some of these seniors, I was older than them in age, but I was junior to them at the bar, because I read law as a second. So I looked at it and said, let me make hay while the sun shines. My seniors are the ones going to Abuja, so before I get Supreme Court brief, I know Jesus will not come there. So I kept myself busy doing the High Court case, doing them very well, ranking up my cases in the High Court. That was why when they asked for 10, I was able to pick 20. I thanked God when I applied, because the rule changed a year or two to that 10 cases that you must show that you actually I was just thanking God that, wow, I kept this case, even when the opportunity And at one point, I was sitting quietly, I got a phone call. They are looking for attorney general and your that for attorney general. People at every point always count your blessings. But I was eventually and then I go and record cases. Most of the directors because they too need those cases to become judges. But there was one director who was hardworking, had racked up cases himself, had many cases. He had funded with his own money in the Supreme Court. He looked at me and had mercy on me. And you need God in this thing. Meanwhile, before I was appointed, the AG before me had given me cases. He had given me cases. So I gave that one out and got some from this. So that was how I was able to make it. The greatest challenge we are going to have, guys, is the Supreme Court. If you are working in the busy chambers, you are working hard, and you are not ducking, you will get your high court case. You will get your court of appeal. Take care of Lagos. But Supreme Court case is your challenge. As I speak now, have a civil appeal that went to Supreme Court in 2006. It has not been heard. There are so many appeals that I had done all before I went away to they have not been heard. As at the time I was appointed Attorney General, I had 2 Supreme Court cases. I had enough High Court, I had enough Court of Appeal, I only had 2, so I needed more. My predecessor in office had given me 1. I was about to argue that when I was appointed. I thought since I'm going to be inside the water, let me give this one to someone else who needs it. So you need to be intentional. I take nothing away from what my seniors have said. You need to be intentional. You need to be diligent. But you also need to play the politics. I'm not saying anything you need to compromise your virtue to achieve, not worth it. If you have to sleep with somebody to get something, it is not worth it. And if you eventually get whatever it is, your virtue. You want to sleep with somebody, let it be your choice. I like this guy, he's my man. Let it be your choice. Not let it be because somebody is twisting your arm. No, I mean, we're all adults here. It shouldn't be that somebody twists your arm to get your virtue. It is not worth it, and you will regret it. So please.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We're going to go to this last set of questions, and it's going to be an interesting conversation. I know that a lot of us have questions, so I don't know. We can take a couple, maybe 1 or 2,